very aggressive. So I think, and that's what Bay likes. That's what Fury likes. So I think it's really worked out in favor of both teams.
Well, as we head into match number 2 of the night to round out my triple treat of teams I wanted to touch on, Sharper Esport, they're into the top 4, and over the last couple of games, this is their last 4 games edge. 8th with 7 kills, 16th with 1 kill, that one's not really going to plan there, but then 7th with 8 kills and 5th with 8 kills just then in our previous match. They've been finding kills, they're getting some placement points, they're into 4th place now, only 2 points behind Battle Arena Elites, and they're looking like Golden Cat of old, more so, I guess, than anything. Tanoi, 6 sacks, Maximus, Kim Siv has been a huge pickup for them as well, and overall, they're doing Sharper Esport proud.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty solid job, honestly. Like, coming from that Golden Cat, incredibly strong as well, and being back in form. So I'd like to honestly see them around the top 5 position, but with how close it is now, it's, it could be anyone's.
So match number 2 coming up very shortly. The rankings on Erangel still favoring Buriram, but LG Divine not too far behind, 46 points. Going back to the first weekend, or at least I think it was actually by the 3rd match of Erangel, because LG Divine's first 2 games on Erangel weren't that great. Their rankings per map on Erangel were horrific. But since that first 2 games on Erangel, they've been able to get a win, 9 points, and now 2nd with 14 points, and there was a 12th with first point. So a huge, substantial turnaround for LG Divine, where, myself and Elfish Guy posed the question last week, is it a Miramar-only team, or are they going to be able to do it on Erangel? Obviously, they got the win there. Now they've got a 2nd place and 14 kills. They can do it on both maps. They can do it anywhere, anytime. Fed, not fed. They've got really the whole package, LG Divine. They're going to be tough to beat. Not great, not fun here for Unicorn Cyber. Not only are they dead last, but 2-1 has unfortunately collided with some trees. We do get our phase 1 circle, which is going to be substantially different to match number 1. We head up towards more so Stalber and Yaznaya. These sort of circles for phase 1, always fascinating as to where they're going to go. If it comes south, then the Roshok River and the Yazzie Pond are obviously going to be big factors. If it continues to go more so towards Stalber, well, obviously that has its own fun little play out.
What in the world is Best doing out here all by himself? He's very separated from his team at the moment, and Twans is still knocked out, so it looks like they are going to be sending a teammate over to pick him up, but not a very good start for Unicorn Cyber, and, being on 8 points, you kind of need a bit of a boot to get up there, I think.
Yeah, it's not been good. Unfortunately, they haven't really been able to keep up with the rest of the lobby, just the 8 points. And things like this definitely don't bode too well for them either. Like, sometimes it could just be a bad tournament. Do need to see, I guess, more of them. I guess more so this weekend and next weekend. But turn our attention to Purple Mood Esport. They were 2nd last going into this, but they had a tremendous game 1 edge, and now they've actually gone up past Ferox. So really, when you look at that leaderboard, minus Unicorn, it's a pretty stacked lobby. Obviously, you got LG Divine soaking up a lot of the points, but from Ferox up, it's still pretty close.
Yeah, if you took LG Divine and Unicorn Cyber out of the lobby, you'd have a real sort of tournament on your hands. It's obviously looking like a bit of a runaway at the moment for Divine, so it's just gonna show how close the rest of the lobby really is. Like, anyone can have even an average game with a couple of kills and put themselves over the person in front of them. It's very minimal points between everyone.
Battle Arena Elites just looting around in Milta. 3rd at the moment for their rank on the leaderboard, averaging 7.6 points on Erangel, couple of kills as well. After picking up their first chicken dinner. Juxie's been good. Sophia's been amazing. Loki's and Nephahor, as usual, rock solid.
Yeah, everyone's been having a really, really good tournament so far from Bay. Really pulling their weight at the moment. And, it's like they're sort of 2nd season together for the PCS. They do have Juxian as a new player, but it's really looking like they're building a lot of chemistry at the moment, and they're figuring out everything they need to do throughout all of these games.
LG Divine just taking these whites north of the Yasnaya Pond. Fury actually going to go towards Stalba. Obviously, most teams are anticipating this is going to go north of the Rossok River rather than a hard shift down south for phase number 2. And I'm definitely sort of with them there. It is a little bit more north. It's not substantially north edge. It's kind of like a 60-40 split if you sort of look at it from the river's perspective, but also from the pond perspective, I guess. The river itself is obviously further south. You've got Cerberus and Buriram quite close to each other as well, just to the east of Yasnaya Poliana, as Kamal's sending it in for Victim Rise. They're looking to find these locations early on. And with this sort of circle, the quicker you do get in, the better. You probably don't want to be coming in quite late.
Now, this isn't really a come in late kind of circle, unless it obviously comes back down south. But it's quite interesting to me how congested the northwest side of the circle really is here. There's not too much separation between the teams. The east side's pretty much completely free. So if this goes hard east, this circle will absolutely be chaotic with all the teams rotating and trying to find whatever spot they can to sort of call
I think it's already quite chaotic already, to be honest, actually, the way we're seeing everything happen now. Rabbit's going to get IQ 500. We saw Sulaby go down earlier from Magic Esports. Rabbit trying to just hold strong here, getting pushed from the stairwell. Does get the knock on the Fergus, but that's all it will be. Long K was there for the retrade, and Division X Gaming will be successful. Neil also getting the revival to IQ 500 in the middle of the road here at the quads. Mickey's further north for Hydra Gaming, but they're going to lose Rabbit, even if Tuan and Simon and Mickey all make their way in. At best, it's just to sort of remonstrate, maybe try and get a kill or two back on Division X. I'm not sure if sending it into them is the best idea, especially now you've already lost your teammate.
Yeah, it's looking like a bit of a split
the
decision here. Yeah, they're trying to re-breach, and especially because all the players have been revived now. You've been gone for a long time. I don't think this is the greatest decision.
I guess you could try and be friendly neighbors one side of the road. It probably doesn't pay off too well, though, for the team that's already down a player. But it could happen at least for the next minute and 50 seconds, provided that you can keep your vehicle safe. I don't think it's the right play, and they don't think so either. They do bail out. Wasted a couple of nades, but if they can get out with all three intact, it's not so bad. They lose one, though. Tuan Robo goes down to Neil, and he will be flushed. So in the end, even further pain inflicted onto Hydra Gaming by Division X. And, well, they were a team that lost too early on in the last game. Now they cause it to another team. Simon and Mickey remain over at the warehouse. And I don't know why they didn't just go here in the first place.
Well, poor decision, because Hydra originally had the warehouse. They gave up what is looking to be a better position to go take a 3v4 against Division X. I don't think that's in any situation a good decision, even if your knocked out players hasn't been flushed out yet.
Yeah. Even if he was just not flushed, he's still going down in the middle of all four of them. Alton Bots of Angel Alliance will be eliminated by Boss Sense, and we haven't seen much of Angel Alliance so far tonight. Obviously only in our second match of the night. And that's not going to really help their cause either, losing a player early on. And they're a team, no offense, but a team that's going to need all four players up if they're going to make really a splash here in this lobby. Going down to 3. There's only a certain amount of teams I look at in this lobby that if they go down to 3 early on can still make something happen. And probably those are the teams in the top 5.
For sure. I think the likes of your Fury, last PCS, they were quite open and said that, you know, they struggled because they were losing players early on. And even though they were still strong with 2, with 3 players, having 4, we've got so much more firepower. So it really pays just to make sure you're keeping your 4 players alive for as long as humanly possible.
9 minutes so far elapsed here for match number 2 of the night. 10 in total. Can you believe we're almost halfway through PCS 3 Apac? It will be by the end of tonight. We'll be starting sort of the second half of the season tomorrow night. Monty does find a beautiful compound here for phase 2, which obviously went towards Stalba, which is good news for Fury. They are in control of the top of Stalba at the moment. Cerberus, also around the Kameshki region, will be able to hold firm towards the northeast. And as we've kind of already seen, and alluded to, it's going to be a massive logjam out towards the west of this circle for phase 2. Every compound already occupied. So for teams like Division X, Purple Mood, Unicorn, VTR, Day Trade, I don't know where you're going to go. There's really no real estate available. So it's either breach, find a bowl, ditch, send it towards something like Stalba, go towards the other side of Stalba, so a long rotation. Or I don't know. Just sit on the edge of the circle, I guess, and hope and pray.
Yeah, it gets pretty difficult, especially with these northeastern circles. You've only got a certain amount of playable like compounds, but you've got a lot of little bits of terrain that you can play off. But it's just knowing the limits of each spot and whether it can be seen by someone else. But it's really going to be a struggle for the likes of Day Trade and From the Future to find something here. From the Future might be pretty lucky coming in on the south, because obviously everything southern side of Yasnaya is completely free, so they might be able to get a little bit of space, but after that it gets really questionable.
A lot of it obviously does depend on phase number 3, where that circle shifts as well. Intriguing though, From the Future are going to take the Roshawk Bridge. They do go early rather than going towards the S9. I think they're actually going to go towards Sharper Esport, Day Trade potential. As we look at Unicorn here pushing into Severny. Obviously, you don't really want to be pushing into Severny because it's not even inside of the circle right now, but they've done so nonetheless. They've got out of the vehicles. They're happy to run around, and I'm a little bit perplexed right now. Boss Tent's on the top of the roof. I mean, this is all fine and dandy, but I'm not sure exactly what the game plan is here for Unicorn. That blue is not too far behind. You can see it there in the distance, and they don't know that Boss Sense is here. Well, now they do. Maybe they did know the whole time. Never mind, 200 just spotted him on that roof and does cop the shots. Boss Sense will be eliminated. Unicorn get a kill. They're on the board here tonight for day number 3. They're going to get moving very, very quickly, and I don't sense they've really got anywhere to go. Looking at the map, what I can see, they've got 3 teams directly in front of them, really. And if they go past those 3 teams, there's another 3 teams waiting for them. I would be surprised if Unicorn are alive by the end of phase 3.
Unicorn could make the heads-up play and just drive along the beach until they find something free, but it's not really looking too likely, and especially with Angel Alliance sitting on that petrol station on the outskirts of Severny, it's probably going to be a pretty rough drive. But I mean, from my perspective, Unicorn did what they needed to do. They got a 1 point on the board, so they've started themselves off decently well for the night. Let's see if they can get an extra 1 or 2, as we see From the Future picking up 1 onto Day Trade's Marines. So good start. Belmouth going down as well. From the Future picking up those 2 points. They've been a little bit quiet so far, so this is good for
2 kills
them.
though.
It definitely is.
Mip and Zuzu has been a standout From the Future. Been really good to watch him play. Gypsy Danger going to go for the shots onto the rotating Unicorn Cyber, who are going for the hard rotation here. Now this, I will say, ambitious. They're going to lose best 1-3-0-1 here, but it was actually probably the smart play. As difficult as of a rotation as this is, it's the smart play, because if they had have just gone directly and beelined towards the center of the circle, they would have gone through, I'm not even joking, like 6 or 7 teams, as we've seen the map before here for phase 3. So they're rotating all the way to the Yasnaya. To the south, they'll push up from the north. What happens from there, we'll have to wait and find out. They may be spotted by Fury, Buriram, for instance, or LG Divine, but it will give them a higher chance of surviving to the end of phase 3. Victim Rise here, though, just on the very edge of Stalba towards the western side of it, close to Division X. And well, kind of like match 1, they're going to go and do a tango again. Long K has just been shot out from a distance by Chibaret, and will be flushed very quickly with a bit of help from Kamel's 3 early kills here for VTR. And talk about getting revenge for match 1, where it was Division X who stole the 2 kills away from Victim Rise. This time they've done it themselves.
Victim Rise will be absolutely laughing right now, getting a couple of kills on the board. They're sitting around pretty much the dead middle of the pack, so everything counts at the moment. And they've got themselves a pretty decent spot to move in off. They've got themselves the edges. They've got a little bit of room to move with, and it looks like they can potentially pick up some rotating kills here onto From the Future if they're lucky.
Great rotation as well. You can see on the minimap, Purple Mood going to go very high up north, just riding that blue wave. They'll come in towards the circle around Cerberus's position. Angel Alliance in the thick of this as well from the future, just sending it literally through two teams right now. Victim Rise and Angel Alliance. Mad Dog, Evil Patrick, the ones that are closest. But Triple X and Hexagon do make it through here for from the future, and they can probably now get to a bit of a safe haven around this position of Stalba. There's not too many teams. You got Waiki, Kamukau, and Insight on the very tippity top of Stalba, but that position's not really going to be a position where they're going to be peeking and binding kills. Simon getting pressured and pushed by Neil, does get the knockdown. There's only one more to deal with, and he's got the high ground. Surely can't lose those. Somehow has Fergus with a great flick up above, has been able to drop Simon. Mickey now in a 1 versus 1. Has the high ground though. Surely should be able to win it from here. The blue comes in. Hexagon somehow knocked by Waiki Kamukau. I think from the future got a little bit greedy. Went to that tippity top of Stalba and had pushed into Fury. In the end, Hydra Gaming did end up winning that fight. I thought that was going to be a horrible loss to have for themselves. And in the end, I guess it was. They just went out apparently in second last. And it's all happening all of a sudden here. Now phase 4. And it's gone right on top of Flood and Ronan at the warehouse, the base of Stalba, north of Yasnaya. A complete hard feed here for Fury and 2 early kills. A great game potentially brewing for Fury.
Yeah, and from the future there, I can't help but feel they just, as soon as they found any sort of spot, like they drove through 6 teams, as soon as you find any spot you should be pulling up, the more you drive, the more likely you are to drive into more people. And it shows because they've just been wiped out by Lokis from Bay there. So not a good game from the future. It looked like it had potential, but they just weren't able to convert it there.
So into the warehouse, this is, I guess, setting the tone for Fury this match. They have got center position here for phase 4. Buriram on one side, you can just actually see them when they're off in the distance, and they got LG Divine on the other side. I wish we could bring up the map right now to sort of show LG Divine's position, but Edge, look how many teams are around LG Divine in this position. Definitely a team to watch over the next 3 to 4 minutes.
If LG make it out of this with all players or even alive here, I'd be very surprised because they're just going to get collapsed on by at least 5 teams. So it'd be a big play from LG Divine, but we've got a lot of our top contenders around there as well, like MG, Magic. They're not far off. They're going to be holding the higher side of Stelba against Angel Alliance, so as long as they can finish up Angel Alliance here, they might have themselves a nice spot without a lot of people for a little bit of time here.
There's a bit of a trade here. Evil Patrick's going to go down. Nan did get a knock onto Tong K, but hasn't quite been rewarded for it just yet. Victim Rise able to dodge that nade, though, from Bryn. Now just playing as a 3. Bryn, the front man here, pushing up that hill is not going to be easy. There's a trade, though. 1-for-1. Monty's down. They did get Kamals. In fact, Samoy going to be knocked as well by Bryn's Molotov. So in the end, 2-for-1. Not bad. Haven't been able to finish any of them off, though. Monty has been flushed himself, though, by Chiberet. And this was the sort of section of the map I was talking about for LG Divine. They haven't got involved yet. They've held their ground, and they're sort of just letting these teams kill each other on the edge of the circle. And this fires everywhere. Valix from above and from behind send Angel Alliance down in 13th position. And unfortunately for Ferox, the high ground was too strong for Victim Rise, who have got 8 kills here for match 2 of the night. And it gets them into the top 8 now, tied for points with Division X Gaming. Isaki eliminated by Buriram. And all of a sudden now, I guess over the last minute or 2, it has just cleared up because we've had so many deaths. Players and teams are out. Poochel, Veronica, a quiet night continues for Day Trade Gaming. Buriram only the 1 kill at the moment, but I suspect with 4 up and they can sweep this eastern side of the circle, they should be very prominent towards the end of the game.
They definitely should be. With the likes of Buriram and Bay, like the only 2 real contesters on the eastern side, they don't even have to touch each other. And especially with this circle coming in, they can just hold their ground. They've got a lot of space, Bay holding the north, Buriram holding the south, and they can just control these zones, not let anyone else in, and just come in late game and just finish everything off. But like we were talking about before with the LG Divine, they've literally stayed still, done not much, and everyone's just fought around them. And LG Divine's just kept themselves alive, and now they're starting to come in and starting to pick up kills. So good play by LG. They're going to make it into the late game as well, I would say here, unless Simway has something to say about it. But I don't know how much he can get done from the blue here.
Oh, he's going to get that.
Will pick up one, but that should be an instant revive, depending on how quick Magic Gaming can start to push down to rush this out. And Tonkei's got a line through the trees. Not able to pick it up.
Yeah, but Jun is going to be left for dead. That blue continues to move anyway, so LG Divine will have to push on with just the 3 remaining players, JN, Namsi, and Levi's. Still a couple of teams around them. This is one of the old tropes, though, Edge. You know, for Fury, they're in that position where they've been hard-fed at the warehouses, but that position isn't really going to be able to net them kills. They did get a couple very early on at the top of Stalber, but since then, obviously, they've found it quiet. But the way that Phase 5 has just shown itself, I actually think this is where they can now potentially get some kills, because these Western teams like LG Divine, Sharper, Magic Esport, if they don't go up north, they're going to have to push in, and we're seeing it right now already. Of course, LG Divine are more than happy to push early, to push quick. They're very decisive like that. It's Kim Siver, though, from a distance, who steals the kill away from Fury. JN knocked by the nade of Insight. Following up from that nade was Flood's nade, and very quickly, LG Divine just gets sent packing in 9th place. No placement point from this match. In fact, really not many points at all. So at least for the teams from 2nd to 7, they can at least just build up a bit of a platform and just climb closer towards LG Divine's very, very high point gap.
Yeah, and that was a really heads-up play there by Fury as well, because they were looking around and they saw that they couldn't overextend for the fight, so they just used utility to clean it up. They didn't push out. If they had of, Magic would have been able to easily pick up at least a knock and a kill there, I would say. So Fury being able to keep the numbers is actually so big for them right now. And now you see Waikika Mukau starting to come alive, gets a knock onto Just Moments from Purple Mood, not Purple Fury. Interesting team name though.
So Phase 6 here for our final match of Erangel for the night already, and it goes right on top of Buriram United. Fury have had the feed pretty much up until this point, and I would actually say it's not really still a bad thing either. They should now be able to get some kills here. So 5 on the board. They basically got 3 kills out of that feed. How many can they get now that they've got to start moving again? Rona just checking these rocks, expecting Sharper Esport to maneuver around here. Rona gets on the bike, moves away. Fury's still with 4 up, Buriram with 4, and Bay with 4. We haven't seen much from Bay this game. We saw Loki's find a kill earlier on, and Sophia with a knock on to Flood. Good information as well for Bay here, and they're putting so much pressure on. Popping the tires on the bike, they get the knock, they get them stuck in the warehouse. And I think a few smokes are going to have to be used here for Fury to get out from this position. They've got 2 minutes until they have to be further in the next circle.
Yeah, and for Fury here, it's really important that they wait out the blue zone, wait until Sharper gets pushed in towards them. Sharper might opt to go under the rocks rather than push directly at Fury, and if they do that, that could make it really difficult for Fury actually to get out of these warehouses, but it does look like Sharper are pushing directly into Fury now.
And obviously, if Fury are too concerned with trying to leave the warehouse, they leave their backside completely open. Maximus, though, goes early with the shots. And that gives away Sharper Esports' position here, pushing up to the warehouse. And there's still plenty of time, so Fury can turn around, try and fight this a little bit, make it even difficult for Sharper. I mean, Sharper are the ones that obviously have to push the issue first. They're closer to the blue, so they are going to be the aggressors in this situation. Fury, they're all lumped together. I can just sense a nade being thrown in and seeing a couple of dead bodies flying around. 67 points at the moment for Fury, tied with Bay. Both of them 10 points behind Buriram, who are probably going to get max points from this game. So his Insight just catches to Noid. Surely expecting the refrag to come. Catches the feet there, actually, of Maximus as well. Has Ronan too for cover. Get that quick refrag as well if needed. 2 smokes are up at the back end of this warehouse. A couple inside of the warehouse up as well. Tonight will be eliminated. So Sharper down to just 2 players in the 2 versus 4 against Fury. I don't sense this is going to go well for them. Kim Siver, Maximus on the other side of this warehouse. But Fury need to get moving as well.
Yeah, Fury's been given a lot of space because Buriram's actually pushed on towards Bay now. Bay was trying to hard gatekeep Fury. Flood picks up the winning players onto the Sharper Esports But now Fury's got to get out. Ronan does get knocked out. Insight will go for that res. Bay left down now only to Sophia after having all of that northern control. Buriram's made it really difficult. Waikiki nice knock onto Tonkei. This will definitely help them start to get, but they still have Unicorn Cyber, the rest of, or the last player from Cerberus and Buriram on their heels. So
yeah, Buriram just
be
sort
very
of
rough.
Swept up to the north. They dealt with Bay. They've got complete circle control, complete phase 7 control here. They know where Cerberus, Unicorn, Fury are all located. At this point, it would be incredible if they don't win this game. Unless Fury can get out of here with all 4 players up, makes it a 4 versus 4, which at this point, I kind of suspect might happen. Subang could be the anti-hero here, sitting at the rocks. Flood is going to be knocked by Nordra, though he's not going to be involved towards the late stage of this game. Subang has been spotted, though, by Ronan. Flood is out. And we're down to 4 versus 3 versus 1. It's Klee, Unicorn, Cyber. This is going to be the most amount of points they're getting in one game, I think, for the whole season so far. Somehow, Unicorn have made it to the top 3 in this game. 7 kills for Buriram, though. Fury obviously have done well to this point, but they're losing players too quickly. Inside did get Klee. It's down, though, to a 2 versus 4. And Nordra's just knocked Insight so quickly, and that blue starts making its way in. It's down to Ronan. And even Ronan can be like Ronan sometimes. A 1v4 is even out of his depth. And at a lowered position, Buriram, talk about control to close out match number 2 of the night. They pick up the chicken dinner here for PCS 3, Apac Day 3. And that closes out Erangel. And they also close the gap to LG Divine. It's only 20 points now.
Yeah,